You gonna sip into the mic? You're listening to the Church Members Podcast, and I'm your host, Jesse Bragg. We're here with the Church Members Only Church Members Podcast. I got the Dr. Caleb Shirley. Now, he said that this was the Caleb Shirley podcast. With
Jesse.
Interviewing myself.
With Jesse. This is the Caleb Shirley podcast with Jesse.
So we somewhat have a, let me give an introduction, I guess is the proper thing to do with with people maybe. I doubt there's many that don't know who you are, but... But I'll go just for sake of
you got a good joke. That's a good joke.
For formality, I guess we'll just introduce you. I'll let you introduce yourself.
No, you go ahead.
I'll let you introduce yourself. Go ahead.
My name's Caleb.
Stupid.
Should we be like turned? I feel like I need to be facing the camera.
No, this is just you and I here talking.
And that window's really bright on this
just
side of the table.
Act like that's not even there, I guess. Because we would be sitting talking like this if nobody was with. So this is Pastor Caleb Shirley, Fellowship Baptist Church, Murrayville, Tennessee, by way of Kentucky, originally.
Maryville.
Is it Maryville?
They call it Maryville.
Maryville.
M-A-R-Y-V-I-L-L-E. Maryville. It's Maryville.
It's not Murrayville. Maryville.
It's Maryville, but it is pronounced Maryville.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So we have a list of things to try to go over in this podcast. We wanted to talk a little bit about our childhoods, upbringing, kind of where we started, how we got into the ministry. Well, I guess I said that like it was a career choice, but how, kind of where it started, how
our beginnings,
where God put us into the ministry,
ministerial beginnings.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your upbringing? And your dad, maybe mom, grandparents, even.
Born and raised in the great Commonwealth of Kentucky. South central Kentucky is where we're from, kind of the rolling hills. I wouldn't call it Appalachia, but right at the edge of it. My upbringing differs from your upbringing in that, I'm probably what you'd call a second or third generation, Christian, or wouldn't you say? You got Gurney, which is my grandmother, and then my dad. And then on my mom's side, her parents was church people, and she, and then me. So
I would say so. Third
generation, born and raised in this thing. Dad took the church I was raised in, I was told, about a month or so after I was born, which was 1990. He would have took it in 91 because I was born in December. So, and he pastored there for 24 years, and so that's my beginnings. Without going into a lot of depth. Public school kid.
Dad pastored a church there for...
He pastored that church 24 years. He pastored a smaller church before that, a short span, and resigned, left, and then became the pastor at Friendship, like I said, about a month after I was born. He pastored and farmed. We were never very wealthy people necessarily. I mean, I didn't know him.
You are now. Right?
No. No.
You got it like that. Huh?
But you know how it is.
Yeah.
You was the same way. I mean, in regards to our, our class, we didn't know our class wasn't.
We didn't know there was classes.
We didn't know. Yeah, that's a good point. We skipped class.
Until we got into what would you say, middle school, when you realized that, okay,
Probably.
Jordans versus Shaqs, the shoes.
For me, it was
and ones and
T-Max and Iversons.
When I started, that's when I realized there's a different class.
When?
When you get to middle school, really, it's about 6th grade, and then you're like, the N1s and the T-Max are different than those Jordans.
See,
but I was blessed to have some Jordans when I was because I had an older brother who had a job, was in the Army, and so he took care of me on that front. But I still, that's when I realized it was different.
6th grade.
Yeah.
6th grade was middle school where I was from.
For sure.
And yes, the shoes for us though was Iversons, T-Max, and the first ever Nike Shock.
Yes, sir.
In the form of a basketball shoe. I can still see them.
Did you have the Iversons that had the zip?
I've never owned a pair, brother. You must have forgot.
I said seen. I didn't say own.
So check this out. Oh, I've seen them.
Yeah, they had the covered the laces.
Leather that covered and you left it unzipped.
Yeah, and the zipper was an eye.
Yes.
With the eye.
Only losers zip them. That's the rich kid who don't even play.
Left them flopping.
My dad. It's a funny story, we just didn't have a lot of money. We had plenty, but I'll never forget, he took me to a Hibbett Sports in Campbellsville, and I needed basketball shoes. And he said, we go in, and I had always went basketball shoe shopping with Mama, And Mom was just going to buy me the best deal. Well, Dad said, whatever shoe you want in here, I want to know what it is. What if you could get any shoe? And I'm like, well, it would be those. He was like, whichins? And I thought he was torturing me. I thought, this is mean. You're going to make me, go. And I say these. And they were a navy blue Nike Shock basketball shoe. And he said, I need size such and such in this shoe. And it was actually the same size he wore at the time. I had a foot the same size as my dad.
So you're thinking he's about to buy those?
I didn't know what to think, honestly. I just thought he was being mean to me. And dude brings it out. I try it on. Dad says, ring them up. And at the time, it was over $100 for those shoes. And I just could not believe.
Massive.
I couldn't even fathom why he did that. And I wore those shoes out so much that, how basketball shoes got that little bit of a tread? It was as slick as that table. And one day I was outside and Dad come out on the porch and saw me in a different pair of shoes. He said, what are you doing? Like, I'm going to go play. He said, why ain't you got those shoes on I give so much money for? I know you can't wear them to school, but you need to be wearing them out. And I said, I have. You can't wear them. He goes and puts them on. God is my witness. He hadn't much more stepped on the porch. His foot slid. And he said, okay, we're going to put these in the trash, son. You're right. You wore them out. So, yeah, that was that. And, it's all about the shoes, right?
Right. When you're that age.
Praise God.
When you play ball, it's about what kind of cleats, which for me was cleats. Yours was basketball shoes.
Of course.
But it mattered.
Bluegrass State.
Yeah. Well, what about, so Dad was a pastor. Grew up in Kentucky. What about college? So, tell us a little bit about high school. God calling you to
preach. Are
you
going to tell your story too? Are we going to bounce back and forth, or are we just going to move on in this? How are we doing this?
You want me to tell them?
Yeah, tell them. Have you ever in all these?
On the podcast, I don't think so.
Well, let's just kind of.
All right, so I grew up in North Carolina, a little town called Vale, V-A-L-E. Don't try to look it up because you can't find it.
Right.
you know, there's not a there's not a stop sign in the town. There's not a stoplight. I mean, it's literally just there's what's called Honey's IGA, which is the like IGA is you're familiar with.
Yeah, yeah. Back home, it was when I growed up, it was called Houchins, and they all changed to IGA.
Well, IGA, it was there was a prominent people in our town that owned the IGA, which their name was Roney, RHONEYS, or RHONEY, Roney, Roney's IGA. Well, storm come through, knocked the R off of it,
Onies.
and it became Honey's.
Honeys. Oh, it had R. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was, and then from then on out, it's always just been Honey's. Honey's IGA.
But it's Ronies.
Well, originally, Roney's.
Should be Runnies.
Yeah. That's what you get when you get food from them. And but there was that, and right next to it was, and this so Honey's IGA was in a little bitty building right there in town, the same place you would go and get your family pictures made.
At the IGA?
Yeah, you know the
yeah, Walmart used to do it.
What was that company that would travel around and
had the gold lettered emblem on the bottom?
The watermark.
Mills?
Maybe.
Let's Google.
Look that up while I'm telling this. But anyway, you'd go in certain times a year, Easter, Christmas, they'd have a corner of Honey's blocked off.
It's Mills. Olin Mills was a portrait photography company.
All right, so Olin Mills would set up inside of Honey's. Roney's. Okay, well then IGA, and then up the
road,
Vale,
North Carolina.
So then they built another one up the road, and when they did that, it was like
big time,
real deal. And so first, I think it was like one of the first like large brick buildings in the town. You know. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Like actual.
Yes.
And so then we got right beside of it is a horse auction. Just kind of giving you an idea of where this is. You've been there.
It's similar. See, that's one cool thing is like the culture
was the same.
Was very similar. Yours was Appalachia.
And really basketball states,
and it's North Carolina.
You know, and so anyway, we that's just, you know, my grandmother lived on it was an old drive. My grandparents on my mom's side was there, aunts and uncles on this road, and we lived actually up the road about 5 minutes, and in a little trailer, little single wide 1-bedroom trailer, and you know, that's where I lived. My dad mom and dad both furniture, you know, near Hickory, North Carolina. That's kind of the type of work for that area.
That's
furniture.
That's the big place
that
too.
Was, you know,
Hickory.
Yep, textile, furniture, mill people. That's kind of what we.
But as far as, you know,
not church.
No church
people. We did not go to church as a family ever. I don't remember ever going up until a certain point. And my mom and dad separated, and she met a guy that went to Liberty Baptist Church in Hickory, North Carolina, and that's how we came to know that church. Was his family originally went to that church. And so
before
mom,
Jody?
Yep.
No.
Yes, my mom.
Wow.
And then so my mom.
Jody's his uncle, by the way.
Right. It's my aunt and uncle, and we can get into all that in a minute. But which is my mom's brother. She called Jody and Liz, asked if she could bring Josh to Vacation Bible School.
Your mom.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord.
And that's how that all started. And we went to Liberty Baptist at Vacation Bible School when I was like 6 years old. And that's how we met Brother Gene Googe, in Liberty Baptist. And that's how that all started. And then we went there for a few years. But as we were going there, So Jody and Liz ended up getting saved in that time period.
Okay.
And then Josh got saved, my cousin, and we kind of dropped out. My mom and that fella split up.
And he was in that church.
He was nuts.
He was crazy.
He was nuts. A drunk. Tried to kill us both. I mean, just
oh my goodness,
crazy. The guy was insane.
And he was in that church before.
Yeah, he's one of those,
Lord
like
help.
yes. Christian guy, but really behind the scenes,
yeah,
he was not. And so we got out for a long, long time, and I never got saved. Made a profession of faith when I was like 5, at probably that VBS or something that just thought it looked cool. Everybody was doing it, that kind of thing. And then my life just took took its own path. I mean, from there, and we moved to West Virginia for a little while, and then from there I started really getting off into a lot of trouble.
In your teen years?
Drinking.
Early teens?
14, 15 years old. Drinking, partying, stuff like that. And my mom, she was like, I got to get you out of here. So we moved back to North Carolina. But we moved in with my grandparents on Knoll Drive, who lived right beside of Jody and Liz, who had during this 6 to 10 year span Jody's gotten called to preach. Liz is working in a Christian school. Josh is preaching. He's a senior, getting ready to junior, senior high school. So we moved back, and Josh is like, he comes to me, and he's like, look, man, it's my senior year, and I'd love for us to be able to go to school together one last year and play ball together one last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was living right next to him, and it was a Christian school. It was at New Manna. And I was lost as a goose, but I was like, I went to my mom, and at this time I was in so much trouble. She's like, well, let's give it a shot, And so I went, and I guess school started probably mid-August. And then on a Wednesday night, August the 27th, I went to church with Jody and Liz, and I got saved.
At Liberty.
At that
on
church.
On a Wednesday night.
Can't
believe them bunch of old-fashioned still have Wednesday night church.
And it was preaching.
Just church.
It was church. It was
used to have church.
It wasn't a Bible study.
Lord.
It was church. And I got saved that night. We pulled in the parking lot. And when we pulled in, I was so mad at my uncle for dragging me to church because I didn't live with them yet. I was still in, and we did, again, me and my mom didn't go to church. So my uncle's like, get ready for church. I'm like, I'm not going. If you know Jody, he's like, no, you're going. Just be ready. I'll be up there to get you in about 5 to 10 minutes. And I got mad at my mom. I'm like, well, you don't go. You're gonna let him make me go. Like I said, I'm your kid, She's like, well, you're gonna do what he says, My mom was good about letting men like my grandfather and him
and your uncle
have a part in my life because
wasn't a lot of other male
right
influence that was positive,
especially positive, yeah. And so, I went. We pulled in the parking lot, and there was a boy that was my cousin's best friend. His name's Chris Decker. He was the deacon's son. And when we pulled in, he ran out to my uncle's car and said, Jody, I got to tell you something. I just got saved. And he got saved in choir practice in there, just a few minutes.
Wow.
And when he said that, conviction.
He was like, I need that.
And I was like, if he's not, there's no way I am.
Yeah.
And I went in, and church was going good, and it was on, and, preacher preached, and I got saved. A few months later, I got called to preach.
Well,
and then from there, a lot of my life changed.
Yeah.
right after that?
I was saved at 7. It's a whole story, but the truth is, when I got saved, and as when a child gets born again, I don't want to sit here and act like there's not a lot of differences, because you're a new creature. That's what the Scripture says. You're not the same as you were, but sometimes it might be harder to see the differences because they're a child. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Sometimes if we ain't careful, we can confuse youngins by, when a young person gets saved that young, we can be like, when they make a mistake, if we're not careful, we can say, well, ain't you supposed to be saved? That's a very unwise thing. And I don't want to get off on this, but
yeah, because a kid is just,
you're going to sow seed of doubt in their salvation, and they still pack around the same sinful flesh as you do and I do.
Right, and you're expecting them to be, number one, you're putting an expectation on them to be an adult
and
a saved adult.
Exactly.
And it's like, he's 9.
It's right. Let him be a kid. And so I had good parents. They never did nothing like that to me, but the point I'm making is that, I went to public school, but I went to church, every time the doors was open. And I had a lot of my, my interests, things I enjoyed that kind of captivated my life. And I hadn't got captivated by my Savior and really dedicated and sold out. That's our phraseology, really. But, once I got through middle school. Isn't middle school probably the worst years of our lives?
Oh man, you're figuring a lot of stuff
hated
out
middle
in middle
school, dude. Yeah.
6th and 7th grade were the worst to me,
and 8th wasn't much better for me.
8th was, I've kind of fallen into my groove. Which now I lived a very different life.
True.
So you were a saved young man in public school.
True. And
I was a lost,
but I wasn't.
But I was a heathen
at that point, and so that's something I'm trying to also kind of say is that, I hadn't sold out, but I was raised very well. Something I never participated in was things like talking like a heathen, cussing.
Right.
Now, I wasn't above joking around or laughing at things and laughing at dudes. And middle school, you're dying to be popular, and it's a terrible time.
And not to mention, just you're seeing girls for the first time.
Yes.
And what I mean by seeing them, I mean you've been around them your whole life, but now you're finally
you're recognizing this is a girl.
Whoa.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, let's not get into that. But
right. Moving on.
But, once I got through middle school and I entered high school, something that shocks a lot of people is I was a late bloomer. I'm a giant physically. I'm 6'8". But when I didn't even begin growing until a freshman. When I got through the 8th grade, I was like 5'7", 5'8".
And scrawny.
Yeah. A little fluffy at that point.
Skinny.
Yeah, but, I wasn't as skinny as I was when I started growing, because it just, stretches you out. But freshman year, I grew to 6'2" from 5'8". And then sophomore, 6'5", and then ended up graduating about 6'8". And, loved basketball, and that was my idol. That was my greatest interest. And it wasn't until I was about 15, I was at – do you want me to get into all this?
Yeah, dude.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Went to a revival that my dad was preaching in Tennessee for Gerald England at his previous pastorate, which was Temple in Smithville. I'm not sure where it's at in Tennessee. I just drawed a blank. But just me and him. And he was preaching one night, sitting on the front row, and he makes a statement. He says, if there's anything in your life that's so big that you cannot give it up for God, you probably should give it up. And immediately, the Lord began to deal with me in regards to my idol, which was the sport of basketball. You know, if I wasn't playing it, I was thinking about it. I was watching on TV. I was playing a video game of it, you know.
Right. Sports Center.
It was yeah. And my dad was always one that was constantly reminding me that shouldn't be your God. Right. And his reminder would be, while I'm watching Sports Center, he would walk through and say, "Son, good to see you're paying your devotion to your God today," and just walk on through. And it's like, man, I can't even sit here and watch TV without conviction, So, and so when that happened, I started really, experiencing constant conviction about it. And went to teen camp that year at New Manna. That was the year before you and I really got close, if I ain't mistaken. Now that I'm thinking about it.
I think you're right.
Because that year, I don't even know if you was there. I would have been 15.
Nope.
06.
I was still in West Virginia.
That was 06. So, I went to teen camp, and it was great. And then, but I was struggling. It was one of them where they hit the ground running.
Right.
Monday night it was on.
Yeah, there's no warm up.
There was no warm up that year, and I was kind of just miserable and knew why, and had to surrender to it. And in that week, I surrendered to sitting out basketball. Now, I ended up sitting my sophomore year out, and just put it into check.
I want you to speak for just a second too, because I think sometimes a lot of people, maybe even people listening, might say, because of the comment you just said about your dad, what he said, was the pressure to quit basketball coming from your dad?
No.
I want you to
No.
But yeah, it wasn't.
Dad never pressured
This
me
was
either
something
way.
God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dad's whole thing was,
because some people might be critical a little bit and be like, "Well, your dad, No.
No, well, I mean, the message he preached, he didn't call out anything. He just said if there's something, and he was preaching a revival for another church. I just happened to have went with him. And so, but Dad always maintained, I don't care if you do or you don't. Now, I was only allowed to play one sport. That was a rule because of the financial, it's expensive. Sports are expensive.
Yeah, like you were saying, our childhood, it wasn't like we going to get to play 15 sports.
No, and transportation was always, buying the gas to go back and forth. It just wasn't always there. And so, Dad never was like, why don't you quit? I want to say this. It's not like I should be playing the NBA right now. It's not like that. I'm not claiming that. I'm just saying, I really enjoyed playing this game and got to play on our small. We were a 1A. Greene County High School was class 1A, very small, very rural, very, the fact that they had a 6'8" guy walking around that school was an anomaly. That does not exist in that environment. And so that was a big deal. And when I went back, I had pressure from all sides. And good people that cared about me and loved me just didn't understand what was going on, and they were like, you can be a testimony, you can be a witness in this game. But for me, it was like, well, I want to be that, but I can't because it has captivated my existence. It's taken over. Everything that I am is saturated with it, and I didn't even have any more space for Christ. And so sitting out that year really just changed my whole perspective. I was able to come back. It wasn't my God. I played for fun. Could I have been far greater, talent and skill-wise if I had given? Yes, but that's everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you're involved with.
Anything.
Yeah, practice makes perfect. The more you give, the better you'll be. But I knew that that wasn't what the Lord wanted out of me. Mm-hmm. And I found that out in that same week of teen camp because I ended up surrendering to preach. Met Heather, my wife now, and began a relationship that eventually led to marriage back in 2011 when we were 20. And so
giving up football is hard for me.
it's
See, that sophomore year is when I went to New Manna. I was 16, just got saved, take that back. I started.
So
school,
you started school at New Manna sophomore year.
lost.
So that would have been the fall of 06.
Yep.
Yeah, this is all adding up.
And see, my freshman year, I was in West Virginia, and that was the same up there. Little bitty school. I'm coming from a 5A school in North Carolina playing football that year, my freshman year. We had one game, and then we moved to West Virginia. So I'd been working out, playing, practicing with this 5A school. I moved to a 1A school.
In the mountains.
In the mountains. They heard I was coming, looked us up online, and we had our team pictures and stuff, and they're like,
let's go.
this kid is coming. And they'd never seen a freshman 6'2", 250 pounds. It was unheard of.
Yeah.
These little mountain kids that didn't get much to eat.
That's right.
And when I showed up, it was like, what are they feeding y'all down there? I was like, they fed us good.
Yeah.
And so we, I played ball. We went to the state playoffs, and that was a struggle. So after that sophomore year, after getting saved, that next year, freshman year, junior year, I was good. Football wasn't pulling at me. But then coming into my senior year, when I realized that I'll never, ever get to touch a football field again, that got me. And so I made a bad decision that summer. I went home to West Virginia. And by this time, so I didn't really explain. I moved in that year with my aunt and uncle, because my mom moved back to West Virginia. And so I moved in with them, was living with them. I went home to visit my mom in the summer between junior and senior year, and met the football coach in town there.
That was a mistake.
He saw me at a store, and he's like,
that was a mistake.
He's like, how old are you? Because he knew my mom. I think they went to high school together.
Yeah.
She introduced me, and he's like, how old is this kid? And I was like, I'm going into my senior year. And he's like, we need you. And then every day he would just come, and it was like a constant pull. Wow. And then I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stay. And I had deceived myself into thinking that by now, in 2 years, I was a good enough Christian to live in this place, knowing what I had done before.
Yeah, knowing the lifestyle you was in when you was there.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. But it was not good.
You was not good.
And, man, I had people call me. Brother Tony was calling me, your uncle.
Yeah.
And my aunt. And they were just praying hard. My uncle, or your uncle, told me later that my aunt worked in the cafeteria. They would have Bible class in there in the mornings. And when school started my senior year, he said every morning during prayer request, she would just cry and say, please pray that he'll come home. And God got a hold of my heart. And I had a cousin who was living right next to us, my mom.
In West Virginia.
And he was moving back to North Carolina. And he came to me and he said, we're leaving in the morning. I expect your stuff to be in that truck
to go back to North Carolina.
With ours, because you know what's right.
You know where you need to be. So did you start the school year in West Virginia?
It had the dates were a little off. New Manna had already started, but that one I was still waiting. If I'd have started,
it'd have been over.
And I don't know what God would have done to get me back. Because, man, I look at my life now where I'm at, and I would have missed out on all this.
Yeah, it'd been over.
God would have probably killed me.
You bonehead.
I'm an idiot.
You dopey.
In the words of Josiah Shirley, I ain't worth
a dime.
I ain't worth a dime.
I ain't worth a dime, he said.
Yeah. So you're right.
Well,
so college.
Well, I don't want to go into it much, but
give some advice.
I had small college basketball coaches recruiting me to play, but I was not interested in that because I felt the only reason you would pursue that would be if you wanted basketball to be your career, not just playing, but coaching and things of that nature. I was done. I wanted to play, but I didn't want it to be my career. I didn't want to teach, and that's, things of that nature. And so decided not to do that. Again, Heather and I, at this point, I'm 18 years old. We're serious. We've already discussed that we believe it's Lord's will that we marry. So I knew I needed to plan around her because she planned around me. She went to Western Kentucky University. She's brilliant, valedictorian.
Way better than you deserve.
Let's just say this.
Hey,
it's the grace of an almighty God.
Way better.
Yeah.
And you know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you love to remind me.
Yeah. You do the same.
Yeah, I do. But so Heather went to Western Kentucky University. She was from Eastern Kentucky. To be closer to me, she got paid to go. Like, she used to get the max meal plans. And me and Paul and Zach.
Deadbeats.
If you didn't use them at the end of the week, they went away.
Might as well.
She'd have like eight meal plans. We'd go to Pizza Hut and get 5 orders of cheese sticks. We'd go to Chick-fil-A and get a bunch of chicken sandwiches, and we would get so sick of eating that last day of the week after starving all week, But yeah, and so ultimately I talked to because I thought about seminary. I don't even like that word, but Bible college.
Yeah. Which I'll speak to some of that.
Well, the counsel that I received came from my uncle, but was given to him by someone else. And what the man said was, it was Brother Jeff Fugit.
I was going to say, I'm curious to know who the man.
It was Brother Jeff Fugit, Clays Mill Baptist Church, and they have a Bible college, Commonwealth Bible College. I was going to say,
that's interesting that he would give this.
This is the counsel that he said. He said, Bible college is not for everyone.
And that's true.
He said, for a young man that's been raised in church, specifically a pastor's son, he doesn't need to go to Bible college in order to learn how to be a Christian, learn how to live for Christ. And doctrinally, he should have already been trained in some capacity under his pastor and his dad. And I felt that really just settled it. Right. He said for a guy that's been, come out of the bus ministry, first generation Christian, he said it's so good for them because they can learn how to be a Christian, how to live for Christ. So immediately I'm like, I love Heather. I'm going to marry her. I've got to be able to provide for her. I've got to figure out how to make some money. And went to Western for a year because that's where she was, and started on the trajectory of construction management. It was just a degree they had, and my family had some background in construction work. So I thought I'd get into that, but literally before I started, I remember I was sitting at Mom's, and she was like, Caleb, have you looked into physical therapy? And I'm like, well, I had physical therapy. I played ball and had some injuries. I was like, but no, not really. And she told me about this girl we knew that went and became what's called a physical therapist assistant, was able to do it real quick, was making, decent money, and was in and out of college pretty quick, working and making sufficient money, and it was great. And I was like, Heather, let's do it. I mean, it was that simple. If Mama said it sounds good,
yeah,
I know what they do in some ways. Let's start the trajectory. In the first year at Western, I was taking psychology and anatomy and developmental psychology, and my major was construction management. And so finished that first semester, changed my major, did my second semester, transferred to the Bowling Green Community College of Western Kentucky, finished taking all my general ed required, applied to Somerset and Jefferson Community Colleges, which is Louisville and Somerset, Kentucky, got accepted in Somerset, got married the summer before I started PTA school. Heather finished her. She was ultrasound tech, sonography, and I went through college. It's a 2-year program once you got accepted into the program, which most kids don't even know. I didn't. I used to think, you go to college, you take a bunch of classes, they give you a degree, you go to work.
Right.
That is very often not the case. Typically, you go to college, you take a bunch of classes, then you have to get accepted into a program within that college in the field you want to study, and that's always competitive, and you got to have good grades to get accepted into the, whether it's education or medical, it doesn't matter. Most of the time, it's a program inside the college that you have to get accepted. And then after you complete that, you take a state boards exam that you have to pay a pile of money for. And then in my case, every 2 years, you have to turn in so many continuing ed hours. So long story short is I was able to get a degree in physical therapy as an assistant, PTA, physical therapist assistant. I went to work. I was out of school 3.5 years after graduating, making far more money than most of the guys that I graduated with that was going to major universities that ended up, most of them, sadly, not even using their degree, most of them.
Right.
But I thank the Lord for that. I've been able to do some correspondence and still, am working on that now to this day. And I like that model as compared to someone else I know.
Yeah.
Who kind of struggles with his model.
It was a mess.
But now, before you get into your story, let's go ahead and say thank God for it.
Yes, sir.
Because you wouldn't be where you are today.
No.
If you hadn't went that route.
No, I that is so true. And my wife.
Where'd you meet Miss Kelly?
I met her at Bible College.
At Bible College.
Yeah.
So
that was the single greatest thing.
And you was making decisions based off of wise men giving you counsel.
Yes.
But looking back, maybe you think you would have done, but ultimately you did
it
what
was
the Lord's will
God's path for me. I will say this: I would not be where I am without it. So obviously, it was God's will.
Obviously,
and I know that, and I knew it then.
Yes,
and the way that it all happened. I don't know if I've told you about the guy that sponsored me, kind of.
Man sponsored you to go to Bible college.
That was a total other God story there. And so the way that all that happened and everything, it was so obvious that God was pointing me in that direction. But, I wish.
You had some hard days when you got out of it.
Yeah. Still.
Are we doing this?
We're doing.
Okay, so Jesse, it's funny because you was on the recruiting trail for me. I don't know if you even remember this, but
and it was mainly because I just wanted you there with me.
and I get that, but it was so funny the pitch that was given by you and your classmates,
which was just
and I won't name them.
I was just repeating the garbage that I'd been told.
But what they would say was things like. And what you didn't know was these were red flags to me based off of how I was brought up.
Good counsel.
Which was they don't teach you what to preach.
They teach you how to preach.
They teach you how to preach.
Which was stupid.
Immediately I was like, ping.
Because here's the thing. And I'm not saying I'm a good preacher, but I'm saying that I was what's the word?
Naive?
No, I was introduced to good preaching.
Yeah. Yeah, you came in.
You know what I'm saying?
A good crowd.
I got Brother Tony. I got Tony Shirley. And the men he would have come in for those camp meetings and to preach our chapel. So
Brother Matt at the school.
Yeah,
Lord,
and and they would teach me how to preach.
And see, that's the thing.
So
preach.
I needed Bible doctrine because I hadn't been saved at 3 years.
How to preach is, hermeneutics, homiletics. We need that as a minister of the faith. I need hermeneutical, homiletical training. But that wasn't the pitch. No. The pitch was not, do you prepare to preach? How do you prepare a sermon?
What do you wear?
It was style.
Do you have gator skin shoes?
It was style. It was more about
does your pocket square match your tie? When I didn't even know what a pocket square was. When I went to When I went to that Bible college, I didn't even have.
This ain't live, is it, Neil?
No.
You might edit this.
We're not editing
I
it.
think you should.
No, what are they gonna do? Sue me?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
When I went there,
Oh, my soul.
I didn't mean to do that, but it happened. So here we are. We were met with opposition. We were met with things that we were not used to.
Yeah.
Behavior that we had been
Forbidden from.
And so we get here and we didn't go wild, but it was like, whoa.
You took a step back.
Yeah, like what is happening? But I'll never forget, we got a lot of flack, myself and just some others, because we were hard.
It was kind of like, the way you've described it to me was...
They accused us of being legalists.
There was two groups. There was this group that was trending toward compromise. And then there was a group that was like... But they almost made you guys out to be like mean and mad.
And we weren't.
That's right.
Which, I'll be honest, I learned a lot.
I bet you did.
I learned a lot. And I did, honestly, really, legitimately, I learned a lot. And I saw what ministry...
Lost my pen.
I saw what ministry was, but I didn't. It didn't help me as far as pastoring.
Right.
My heart from when I got saved and called to preach was to pastor. And that didn't help me. In fact, I needed somebody to teach me Bible doctrine, and so on. But anyway,
well, and
my wife showed up a year. I think it was a year maybe after I did, and when I first saw her. That was it. I was done.
It was on.
Fell in love with that girl. But anyway, so after that time, I left because it was just too much for me.
There was a time.
There was a hard time that hit that place, and it was time for me to go.
Well,
and I left, and I found a place there in Pickens, South Carolina, with Brother Posey. And I tell him all the time, that was my field of grace.
Brother
Danny Posey. They took me in, and they let me work in ministry, and that was my Bible college right there.
Yeah.
That's where I learned.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I've had a lot of young men come to me. I say young men.
Let me specify real quick. I met my wife there. We were just friends all this time. We didn't marry until later.
Right.
After I had moved to Pickens. And
so some of my peers, really, most of the time it's guys that I look at like a peer, but guys will ask me things about furthering their Bible education. I have talked to some that was younger than me, and I'm a big believer in what you just said. The most valuable training I have received throughout the years was hands-on in a ministry, in a church, under my dad. And, I remember I had a guy that was going off a long way, and he went for a year. And in that year, he got his hermeneutics, he got his homiletics, he got his
apologetics,
basic theology.
all.
Yeah. And it was a long ways off. A long ways off. And he benefited very much from that. But now the church that he was a part of needed him.
Yeah.
They needed someone to be serving in multiple capacities. And the boy's dad approached me about it. He was like, man, I'm trying to talk him out of going back. And I was like, what's going on? And he kind of, again, reiterated. He was like, at this point, why does he need to go down there for training when this church needs help and needs, and somebody can train?
Best kind of training.
Well, I just told the boy, I was like, look, most benefit that you are going to get out of that place is learning how to study your Bible, how to prepare a message, how to do it the right way, and some basic knowledge so that now you've got a foundation, all right, where your pastor can just continue to build on that doctrine and theology with his preaching, with his training,
Yeah.
and you can serve in your church.
Yeah.
And learn how to, because one thing is the place that he went to had a lot of like bus ministry work, and they required that out of their students, and he enjoyed that. And I was like, why can't you do that here?
Do it at home.
That's right, and they need it here. And there's children on the streets that you're from,
right.
and you need to learn, and you need to grow, and the nursing homes that are there. You know, there's just
after my stint down there, I'm not a. Man, it's going to sound really harsh, but I'm almost opposed to them, man.
Going and staying and living at a Bible college.
It's not. It has to be. I don't even know that I should say.
I know what you're saying,
because
Jesse.
it has to be
the perfect scenario,
and it's not.
And we've not done the truth is, I've not done the homework, and I would say you would probably say you haven't either, as to where would you recommend someone go? I don't know.
I don't either. I mean, I know the men now. I know the places where I think now, like where I wish I would have went.
But now I do have recommendations for online correspondence.
Absolutely.
I have multiple.
See, I'm going to one now because I didn't finish. I'm going to one right up the road, Baptist Institute of America, through Corinth Baptist Church. Brother Don Richards started the college years ago. That's where I'm going now to finish because, you know, obviously.
And I hate that some of these boys go to Bible college, get a degree, and they don't transition immediately into ministry.
They think it's going to automatically happen.
And they have no way of making a living. And they've met their wife at Bible college, and now they're having to get I hate to say it this way, but a trash job. There's just a lot of issues, you know, that these kids don't recognize.
But I'm just saying, man.
I know of some.
I know how I struggled. Okay.
Yeah.
When I got out of Bible college and went to killing bugs for a living. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No. But there was some dog days there where you had to climb.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there thinking, I wish I had some sort of trade or something. By this time, I'm married. You know, I've got a home.
Our recommendation, if I was going to say, all right, this is the first option that everybody should consider is go to trade school, pick a trade that does not, you know, create a slave. You don't have to be a slave to it.
One that you can almost even start your own little
business.
Business.
You gotta work up to that, but pick a trade, you know, electrician, welding, HVAC, plumbing. These are, you know, your prototypical.
That you're not going to be a 7
I would call
week.
my career the choice. I would call it a trade. It was an associate's degree at a community college. There's a lot of medical field options there too. But while you do that, or even do it, and then when you get done, do correspondence Bible college.
And let your pastor teach you.
And yes,
we've gotten so far away from. I've started a little something here because of that. We have a preachers class on Tuesday nights for our preachers, and I'll just have them come in, and I teach them simple things: how to outline,
it's good,
how to discern the scriptures.
And these guys that are in that position, they need to. I've got a stack of 4-star Mead. You've seen my notebooks. I've been doing this since 2010, and I've got a stack of them. And I can't tell you how many times in my Bible study, if I'm looking at a passage, I've got a note, and it says, Brother so-and-so, and it's got a date. I can reference my notebooks, and I can pull a message that I heard from that passage by a man, and I have logged it. Dude, my message prep and we're outliners, we're alliterators, you know. That's what we are. It's what we come out of. You don't have to be.
Right.
And sometimes we don't, but that's where we point our trajectory in message prep. Would you agree?
For the most part.
For the most part.
We don't force it.
No. But I got that from
Right.
sitting with a 4-star Mead little bitty notebook in my Bible case with my Bible and taking notes and learning
from your pastor.
From not just him, but like you said, dude, we've been exposed to great preaching throughout the years. And some of the best, you know, that are building messages, Brother Mark Stroud is phenomenal. Brother Lee Davis. Brother Lee Davis,
man,
could alliterate.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a message,
Phenomenal.
a sermon prepare. Kenny Ball, Brother Kenny.
Yeah.
It lights it up.
Yeah.
If you get, and what happens is you'll train an ear for it and you can hear it. And I don't have it as good as I used to be.
And that's what I tell our boys is just do it.
Start paying attention.
Pay attention.
And put it on paper. Save it for later. Yeah, dude, study.
And when you're reading, don't just read.
No.
To just say, "Oh, I read." Get a notebook.
Yes.
And don't. And I'm not saying like every time you read, just do it just to get an outline, but try to outline a passage.
Yes.
Get practice with it, and then go to a nursing home.
Yes.
And let it rip.
Yes.
Get on the bus on Sunday morning and preach the house down.
And I'm a big believer in
and just.
And helping them get to there. One thing I did in the nursing home thing is at my previous church there is I took the boys, the men over. The first month or so, I preached and I showed them how to do it. You know me. I've done a lot of work in nursing homes, so I'm comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And nursing homes are uncomfortable for most people, but I was comfortable in it. I walked in, I knew how to do it, and I just trained them and showed them. And I would preach. I would play the piano. They would sing. We would have song service, and I would say, we want to have a church service just like we would have at our stand up, give a statement, welcomes, get songbooks, sing, have prayer, just like that. Because sometimes we're not careful. We go in there and everything goes out the window. And so you're right, though. That's
my father-in-law.
Is so beneficial.
My father-in-law has run equipment since the 70s. And he always says this, seat time, man.
Yeah.
Seat time. You got to get seat time. That's how you get better. And that's how it is with preaching.
Yeah, man.
Listen to it.
It's
not listen to it every day. Get it in your heart.
Study
Fall in love
Study
with
preaching. Study the Bible and study preaching.
Yep. And so I would really urge young Christian men that are called to preach, teenagers coming out of high school, going, number one, and I think you'll agree with this, don't run from your church and don't run from your pastor. When you take off and you go to this college, you're leaving, in my opinion, the group of people
that
you're leaving your shepherd.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're walking away from that flock.
I would
where all of your protection is, where the man that has the best interest, your best interest at his heart, that has seen you grow, helped you grow, watched you grow, and helped grow you, you're walking away from this because you want some sort of prestigious
accolade.
You want, because it looks and it sounds, I'm going to Bible college.
Look, I want there to be a good one.
I do too.
And I had somebody recently tell me that he's hoping so and so will get one up and going, and he's got confidence in this, and I do too.
Now again, there's some good ones out there, but I don't know, man.
It's a lot of it is dependent on the student.
And yes,
how many went, and it didn't matter where they had went. It was going to be a disaster. And how many went, and the place was a disaster.
Maybe that's what it was with me, Caleb. Maybe I was the disaster.
It's funny. We've come full circle to where it's like, you know what? No matter where you go, no matter what your journey is, no matter what path you take,
God's in it.
Yeah, and just don't quit.
Don't quit.
Yeah, don't quit.
That's the problem today. Is quitting has become the normal.
Yeah.
This job stinks. I quit.
Yeah.
My marriage is not going the way
Transfer
I want to.
portal.
Yeah.
NIL.
That's right. I quit.
So, but what do you think? You think we ought to wrap this up, do a part 2 later?
I think so. I
do
think it's been a good one. And again, please don't listen to this podcast and the takeaway be these guys just sat there and bashed Bible college for. That's what it sounds like.
Oh, praise the Lord. I'm a big,
Now,
big
both of-
believer in online Bible college. Like
I'm a strong believer in what you said. Get a trade,
get a trade, man. You got to figure out
and
how to
not
make a
one,
living.
not one that's gonna make you a slave.
Yeah, and don't pick something that's going to take you out of ministry.
Something that's going to allow you to work, be a part of your church.
You know,
And if you meet your bride, then you can marry her and support her.
yes.
And
Construction management, what turned me away from that was in my study of it, it was like you work every day of your life. And I was just like, well, it's not that I'm afraid of work, but it's like Sunday is not a day and Wednesday night is not time. I refuse. This is non-negotiable. And when I looked at physical therapy, it was Monday through Friday, 40 hours a week, 9 to 5. Well, I can do ministry with that.
that's right.
And I did. And I even pastored and was doing it full time. And then I was able to transition to some part time and PRN and so but we got a lot to talk about.
We ain't done yet.
We've only just begun.
Yeah. And this may even develop into
A regular thing.
a host, co-host type
Yeah,
situation.
you'd make a great co-host, brother.
I would. I think I would.
Just being stupid.
So this has been the Church Members Podcast with host Caleb Shirley, co-host Jesse Bragg. Or we could just say, what is it when they have the? I guess it is co-pastors and pastors. But anyway, we love you guys. We'll be back for more on the next episode.